Everyone talks about love like it's enough to hold a relationship together, but here's the brutal truth. Love is easy. What's hard is compatibility. And if you get that wrong, it won't just cost you your relationship, it will cost you your peace, your growth, and possibly your future. The person you choose will either multiply your life or destroy it. The question is, are you choosing based on feelings or are you choosing based on alignment? Most people grow up with this belief that somewhere out there is a person perfectly designed for them, like the missing puzzle piece. It sounds beautiful, almost magical, and for years it drives people to keep searching endlessly, convinced that compatibility is something you stumble upon. The harsh truth is that compatibility isn't luck and it isn't fate, it's alignment. Alignment of values, alignment of goals, and alignment of the way you view the world. When two people have completely different visions for life, love alone can't carry the weight of that gap. It doesn't matter how strong the chemistry is if your principles and your priorities are pulling you in opposite directions. Compatibility is not about similarity in hobbies or interests. It's about whether your futures point in the same direction. If one person wants to build a career empire and the other wants a quiet, laid-back life, that tension will only grow with time. The longer it's ignored, the more explosive it becomes when reality finally demands honesty. We often confuse attraction with compatibility, and that confusion is where so many relationships collapse. Attraction is easy, it's immediate, it's surface level, and it feels undeniable. But compatibility is much deeper, and it shows up in the small, often boring details of everyday life. How you spend money, how you handle stress, how you solve conflicts, how you prioritize responsibilities, all of that matters more than sparks. Two people can feel drawn to each other and yet find themselves at war once the excitement fades and daily life takes over. You can adore someone and still be unable to build a stable life with them. Love is an emotion, but compatibility is a strategy. One is a feeling you fall into, the other is an intentional decision you test and confirm. When you mistake one for the other, you set yourself up for long-term pain disguised as passion. This is why many relationships feel amazing in the beginning and unbearable later. True compatibility doesn't reveal itself on the first date or even the 10th. It shows itself in moments when pressure is high, when something goes wrong, and when both people are pushed outside their comfort zones. It's in those moments you learn whether your values line up or whether they conflict. Does one of you run toward problems while the other runs away? Does one believe in honesty while the other avoids it at all costs? These differences aren't just personality quirks, they are indicators of future conflict that will repeat itself endlessly. Compatibility requires being brutally honest about what you need and what you believe in, even if it risks pushing someone away. Too many people lower their standards, ignore red flags, and hope time will magically solve the disconnect. But time doesn't fix misalignment, it only amplifies it. The longer you wait to confront the truth, the harder and more painful it becomes. Compatibility is not found in promises, but in patterns. People cling to the idea of perfect matches because it removes responsibility. It makes it easy to believe that success in relationships is about luck, not effort. But alignment is not passive. It's something you seek intentionally with clarity about who you are and what you want. That means you can't skip the hard questions. Where do you want to live? How do you want to raise children? Or do you even want them? How do you view money, ambition, discipline, and growth? These questions are not small talk. They're the foundation of your future. And if the answers are in conflict, no amount of love will bridge that divide. What people call incompatibility later is often nothing more than ignored misalignment from the start. They didn't want to face the discomfort of truth, so they chose the comfort of hope. And hope without alignment becomes the most dangerous trap of all. Compatibility is also about pace. You can both want success, growth, and fulfillment. But if one moves quickly and the other drags their feet, friction builds. When your energy and urgency don't match, resentment quietly grows in the background. One partner feels slowed down, while the other feels pressured to move faster than they're ready for. Over time, that dynamic turns admiration into frustration. It isn't enough to want the same things, you have to move toward them in sync. Otherwise, the relationship becomes a constant negotiation of speed and sacrifice. Someone always feels like they are compromising too much, and resentment slowly replaces respect. The brutal truth is that compatibility means sharing not just vision but rhythm. You need someone whose stride doesn't exhaust you or leave you waiting. That alignment of pace determines how well you can walk through life together without constantly tripping over each other's choices. A lot of people hold on to the fantasy that love conquers all. They believe that if the feelings are strong enough, everything else will magically align. But feelings are temporary and they rise and fall with circumstance. Compatibility isn't about holding hands when things are easy. It's about holding steady when life hits hard. Can you face setbacks together without turning on each other? Can you share victories without jealousy? Can you communicate when it's uncomfortable rather than avoid the truth? These questions decide whether a relationship lasts or crumbles. Without alignment, even the strongest feelings will be tested until they break. Love may be the spark, but compatibility is the structure that keeps the fire alive without burning the house down. When you depend on love alone, you're building on sand. When you build on alignment, you're building on rock. The difference between compatibility and chemistry is the difference between sprinting and marathon running. Chemistry feels like speed, fast, exciting, adrenaline driven. Compatibility feels like endurance, the quiet, steady ability to keep moving without collapsing. If you want to sprint, then chemistry is enough. But if you want a lifetime partnership, then you need endurance. And endurance only comes from shared alignment. It's not glamorous and it's not always exciting, but it's what gives a relationship the strength to survive decades, not just months. Too many people chase the high of the sprint only to burn out when real life demands stamina. Compatibility is boring compared to fireworks, but fireworks fade fast. What matters is whether you can keep going after the lights are gone, because that's where real life exists, and that's where most relationships fail. Compatibility is not about being the same. It's about moving in the same direction. You don't need a mirror. You need a partner who complements your path. If you are ambitious, you don't need someone equally ambitious. But you do need someone who respects ambition and doesn't resent it. If you value growth, you need someone who welcomes growth, not someone who fears change. The key is alignment in the non-negotiables, not in every detail. People waste time trying to mold themselves into someone else's ideal instead of asking the real question, do our paths connect or conflict? When they connect, differences become strengths. When they conflict, differences become battles. The distinction is subtle, but it determines everything. Compatibility isn't sameness, it's shared direction. That's why clarity is your greatest weapon in choosing who to share your life with. The clearer you are about your values, your goals, and your vision, the easier it becomes to identify alignment. The less clarity you have, the easier it is to be seduced by attraction and blind to incompatibility. Most people avoid clarity because it forces them to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves. They want someone to complete them rather than someone to align with them. But no one completes you, you complete yourself. A partner only magnifies the path you're already walking. If you're unclear, you risk walking into misalignment disguised as destiny. But when you know exactly who you are, you recognize alignment instantly and you don't mistake sparks for strategy. Falling in love is one of the easiest things in the world. You meet someone, the connection feels electric, and suddenly everything seems brighter, lighter, and more exciting. That rush of attraction convinces you that you found something rare, something unshakable. But the reality is love is not the hardest part of a relationship. Living with someone day after day through stress, conflict, and the grind of real life, that is where the truth of compatibility gets tested. It's easy to adore someone when the world feels like a movie. It's much harder to respect and rely on them when bills are due, health fails, or pressure mounts. Love alone doesn't prepare you for those tests. Character does. Chemistry is the hook that draws you in. But character is the anchor that holds you steady. The person you choose will bring their habits, their values, and their discipline into your shared space. If those things don't align with yours, it doesn't matter how magnetic the connection feels. Attraction will not pay the rent, raise children, or solve arguments. What does matter is whether your partner's behavior under stress reinforces or destroys the foundation you've built. Shared values are stronger than shared hobbies because hobbies fade and change. But how you treat people, how you respond to conflict, how you honor commitments, those things stay consistent. And when two people can't find alignment in those core areas, the relationship becomes fragile no matter how much passion they share. Everyday life has a way of stripping away illusions. At the start, you only see someone's best self, the charm, the attentiveness, the effort to impress. But once the adrenaline fades, the small habits begin to surface. Do they take responsibility for their actions, or do they blame others when things go wrong? Do they follow through on promises, or do they let words replace effort? These are not small details. They are the true indicators of whether a partnership can survive. You cannot build stability on charisma. You cannot rely on passion to compensate for a lack of consistency. The real test is not how much someone excites you, but how much you can count on them. That reliability, not romance, is what creates peace in a relationship. Arguments expose character more than compatibility quizzes ever will. Disagreements are inevitable because no two people will see the world exactly the same way. It back. What matters is how those disagreements are handled. If one person avoids conflict while the other explodes, the cycle becomes toxic. If one person manipulates while the other withdraws, resentment builds in silence. Healthy conflict requires honesty, respect, and accountability from both sides. Without those qualities, love turns into a battlefield. And once you start associating your partner with constant tension, back attraction fades into exhaustion. True partnership means facing conflict without losing respect, not avoiding it or letting it rot the connection. Without that, even the strongest feelings collapse under pressure. To take it back. It's easy to fall in love with someone's potential, but potential doesn't solve the challenges of daily life. What matters is whether their current reality aligns with your needs. Back. If you value discipline, they value comfort. There will be friction every day. If you prioritize growth and they resist change, you will feel suffocated. Love cannot erase these differences. Back. It can only disguise them temporarily. And by the time the disguise fades, you've already invested years into someone who doesn't share your path. Back. That's why it's critical to evaluate not just how much you enjoy being with someone, but how you function together in practical life. Attraction pulls you to the relationship. Back. But shared discipline is what sustains it long term. Living together is not glamorous. It's messy, repetitive, and filled with small decisions that add up to big consequences. How you divide responsibilities. Back. How you manage finances, how you support each other's goals. These choices define the health of your relationship. You don't realize how incompatible two people are until you try to merge your lives. Back. One person might want structure while the other thrives on chaos. One might take initiative while the other avoids accountability. These mismatches may seem small at first, but they compound over time. The day-to-day grind reveals whether you're building a partnership or a power struggle. If living together feels like constant negotiation, love won't save it. Alignment will. And many relationships collapse not because people stop loving each other, but because they stop respecting each other. Respect isn't built on attraction, it's built on consistency and reliability. Back. When someone shows up for you, follows through, and handles challenges with integrity, respect grows naturally. But when someone breaks promises, avoids responsibility, or creates unnecessary chaos, respect erodes. And once respect is gone, attraction quickly follows. No amount of chemistry can compensate for the absence of respect. Without it, love feels more like obligation than choice. Respect is what keeps admiration alive after the excitement fades. Without respect, love decays into resentment, no matter how strong it once felt. Partnership is about building, not just bonding. The right partner adds stability, energy, and growth to your life. The wrong partner drains you, distracts you, and holds you back. You cannot build a fulfilling life with someone who doesn't share your sense of responsibility or your willingness to face challenges head on. Compatibility requires shared resilience, not just shared interests. Back when life throws challenges your way, you need someone who doesn't crumble or quit. Love might comfort you in the moment, but resilience ensures you survive the storm together. And if only one of you is carrying that weight, eventually the imbalance will destroy the relationship. Partnership is about carrying together, not dragging one another forward. The truth is, back. Attraction will always fade to some degree, no matter how intense it feels at the start. What lasts is trust, respect, and shared discipline. These are the qualities that make a partnership feel safe, inspiring, and sustainable. You may not always feel butterflies, but you should always feel secure in your partner's character. That security is what gives love the chance to grow deeper over time. Transforming from a fleeting emotion into an enduring bond. Love without discipline burns bright but short. Discipline without love feels cold and transactional. The magic happens when both coexist. When passion meets reliability, when chemistry meets character. That balance creates the kind of compatibility that stands the test of life, not just the thrill of the moment. Most people grow up thinking that compatibility is something you stumble upon, like a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. The truth is, compatibility isn't found, it's built. Building it requires effort, honesty, and the willingness to face uncomfortable realities. You don't wake up one day and suddenly have the perfect partnership. You create it through shared growth and intentional decisions. That means sitting down and having conversations that aren't always easy. It means admitting flaws, addressing weaknesses, and refusing to pretend that everything is perfect. Compatibility is the result of two people deciding to work through challenges together instead of running from them. It's a process, not a miracle. Without work, even the strongest attraction fades into frustration. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves is that if it feels right at the start, it will stay right forever. The reality is that feelings shift, circumstances change, and people evolve over time. What creates long-term compatibility isn't the absence of conflict, but the presence of commitment to growth. You cannot coast on emotions. You have to actively maintain alignment. Back. That requires both people to show up with honesty even when honesty feels brutal. Pretending problems don't exist only buries them deeper, where they resurface later with more force. Back. Building compatibility means facing those issues now, not later. Every time you avoid truth, you trade short-term comfort for long-term chaos. Every time you confront truth, get back. You give the relationship a chance to strengthen. Growth is non-negotiable if you want real compatibility. People often assume that once they've found someone, the work is done. But life doesn't freeze when you enter a relationship. It keeps moving and both people have to adapt. If one person refuses to grow while the other pushes forward, a gap forms. At first, it may feel small, but over time it widens until the connection strains under the weight of misalignment. Growth isn't always glamorous. It often means breaking old habits, challenging beliefs, and stepping into discomfort. When both partners commit to growth, they rise together. When one resists, the other feels dragged down. And nothing erodes compatibility faster than the feeling of being held back. Honesty is the foundation of building compatibility. It's easy to be honest when the truth is flattering, but the real test comes when the truth is uncomfortable. Are you willing to admit when you're wrong? Can you share insecurities without turning them into weapons against each other? Do you communicate openly about needs, boundaries, and expectations? If the answer is no, then compatibility cannot last. Silence may keep the peace for a while, but it builds resentment beneath the surface. And resentment is the silent killer of relationships. Building compatibility requires the courage to speak, even when your voice shakes, and the humility to listen, even when it stings. Without that honesty, what looks like harmony is only denial in disguise. Building compatibility also requires discipline. Relationships are not maintained by feelings alone. They are sustained by actions repeated daily. That means in showing up consistently, keeping promises, and treating your partner with respect even when emotions run high. Discipline is what keeps you grounded when passion fluctuates. It's what ensures stability when life becomes chaotic. People often think discipline kills spontaneity, but in reality, it creates the structure where love can thrive safely. Without discipline, a relationship feels unpredictable, and unpredictability creates insecurity. When you know you can rely on each other, trust grows naturally. Trust is not built on words, but on patterns, and patterns are the product of discipline. Another brutal truth about building compatibility is that it requires sacrifice. You cannot always get your way back, and neither can your partner. Compromise is essential, but compromise doesn't mean abandoning your values. It means finding balance where both people feel respected and heard. The problem arises when one person consistently sacrifices while the other consistently takes. That imbalance breeds resentment and slowly erodes connection. Healthy sacrifice means sometimes putting aside your preferences for the sake of the relationship as a whole. It's a mutual exchange, not a one-sided obligation. Compatibility grows when both people willingly make adjustments without keeping score, because they recognize they're building something bigger than themselves. Conflict is inevitable, but destruction is optional. Many people believe that arguing means they're incompatible, but that's not true. Arguments are opportunities to learn to understand and to adjust. The difference between growth and breakdown lies in how those arguments are handled. Do you attack each other's character, or do you focus on solving the issue? Do you listen to understand, or do you listen only to defend? Building compatibility means using conflict as fuel for improvement, not as a weapon for control. Each disagreement can either tear you apart or make you stronger. The choice is made in the heat of the moment when emotions run high and discipline matters most. Patience is another ingredient that can't be ignored. Compatibility doesn't appear overnight. It's forged over years of shared experiences. There will be seasons of tension, frustration, and doubt, but those seasons are part of the process. If you expect perfection from the start, take it back, you'll give up at the first sign of difficulty. Patience allows you to see beyond temporary setbacks and recognize the bigger picture. It gives space for mistakes to be corrected and for growth to take root. Without patience, you'll sabotage a relationship by demanding instant alignment. With patience, you allow compatibility to deepen in ways that only time can reveal. It's not about waiting passively, but about actively building while trusting the process. Another overlooked part of building compatibility is accountability. It's easy to point out flaws in your partner, but much harder to own your own. Compatibility requires both people to take responsibility for their actions without excuses. If one person always blames the other, progress becomes impossible. Accountability means acknowledging your role in conflicts, your contribution to challenges, and your responsibility in making things better. It's not about guilt, it's about growth. When both people embrace accountability, the relationship becomes a safe space for improvement instead of a battlefield of accusations. Accountability turns mistakes into lessons and setbacks into opportunities. Without it, Relationships remain stuck in cycles of blame and defense. At the heart of building compatibility is choice. Every day you choose whether to show up, whether to listen, whether to grow back, and whether to love actively instead of passively. Compatibility is not a fixed trait. It's a living, evolving reality shaped by those choices. You don't stumble into alignment. You create it together. That creation is ongoing, requiring continuous effort, constant honesty, and unwavering resilience. It demands more than attraction. It demands character. It asks you to look beyond feelings and focus on actions. Get back. When both people make that choice consistently, compatibility becomes unshakable. It's not magic. It's not fate. It's work. And it's worth it. It back. Choosing a partner is one of the most important decisions you will ever make in life. It's not just about who you love. It's about who you trust with your time, your energy, and your future. That the right partner amplifies everything you do, while the wrong one slowly drains your potential. Too often, people pick based on feelings in the moment without thinking about long-term consequences. They overlook habits, mindset, and lifestyle, believing love will compensate for everything else. But over time, those overlooked details become the cracks that break the foundation. A partner isn't just a person you share emotions with. They are someone who influences your trajectory. Their mindset becomes part of your daily environment, and your environment either accelerates your growth or limits it. When you look at partnership through the lens of building, the standards change. You no longer ask only if you enjoy their company, but whether you can build a life together without constant friction. Do they push you toward better habits, or do they reinforce destructive ones? Do they encourage your goals, or do they subtly sabotage them with doubt or distraction? These questions matter because your partner becomes your mirror, reflecting back the version of yourself that you choose to live with. When someone shares your vision, even difficult days feel purposeful. But when someone works against it, every step feels heavier than it should. You don't need someone to complete you. You need someone who aligns with your path so you can multiply each other's progress. The truth is, love without alignment can feel intoxicating but unsustainable. You can be passionately in love with someone who doesn't support your vision, and that conflict will eventually tear the bond apart. The strongest relationships are not built on feelings alone, but on shared ambition, mutual respect, and the ability to grow together. A partner should not be an anchor that keeps you tied to the ground when you're meant to fly. They should be the wind that helps you rise higher than you could on your own. Love is a powerful force. But without shared direction, it becomes a cage instead of a catalyst. You want someone who makes your journey lighter, not heavier. Someone who strengthens your discipline, not undermines it. That is the essence of true compatibility. Think about the people who achieve extraordinary things. They rarely do it alone. Behind their success is often a partner who believes in their vision and contributes to it in meaningful ways. A good partner challenges you when you're being small and supports you when the world feels overwhelming. Take it back. They don't compete with your growth. They collaborate with it. They don't resent your ambition. They celebrate it. And when both partners think this way, the relationship becomes a force multiplier. Instead of pulling against each other, you're pulling in the same direction. That synergy makes you unstoppable because every ounce of energy you pour into the relationship returns to you multiplied. A partnership like that doesn't just feel good. It builds something lasting. Partnership is not just romance, it's strategy. It's a decision that will impact your finances, your health, your happiness, and even your legacy. Choosing someone based only on attraction is like hiring an employee based only on personality. You'll regret it when performance matters. You need to evaluate character, discipline, and the ability to adapt when life changes. Who you choose as a partner determines whether your dreams grow or die. They will either fuel your energy or drain it. There's no neutral in this equation. That's why settling for less than alignment is so dangerous. Every day you spend with someone who isn't aligned is a day you invest in the wrong direction. And eventually the cost becomes too high to ignore. The right partner doesn't just stand beside you, they build with you. They don't see your goals as competition. They see them as shared victories. When you win, they win because your growth benefits the partnership as a whole. That mindset is rare but powerful, and it's what creates relationships that last decades instead of crumbling after years. Building with someone means asking back. Can we combine our strengths to create more than we could alone? If the answer is yes, you found compatibility worth fighting for. If the answer is no, then all the chemistry in the world won't make it sustainable. At the end of the day, relationships succeed not because two people love each other, but because they can build a future together that feels bigger than what either could create alone. Many people underestimate the influence of environment, but your partner is your most consistent environment. Their habits affect your health. Their mindset affects your confidence. It back. And their discipline affects your standards. If you live with someone who normalizes mediocrity, it's harder to push yourself toward excellence. If you live with someone who values growth and resilience, back. It's easier to push past obstacles. That influence compounds over years, shaping the person you become without you even realizing it. The wrong partner makes you smaller. The right partner expands you. Back. That's why compatibility isn't just about liking each other. It's about curating the environment where both of you can thrive. Choosing wisely means choosing the quality of your future. Back. The brutal truth is that love is not enough when it comes to long-term partnership. You need alignment in vision, in work ethic, and in resilience. Without it, you'll find yourself exhausted, drained, back, and constantly compromising on things that matter most. With it, life feels lighter, challenges feel manageable, and growth feels natural. Picking a partner is not just a romantic choice, it's a life choice, back, a business choice, and a future choice all rolled into one. Too many people treat it lightly as if it's only about emotion, back. But the reality is that nothing will impact your trajectory more than who you choose to share your life with. The right person helps you build an extraordinary life. The wrong one keeps you stuck in the ordinary. Back. So choose wisely. Choose someone whose values align with yours, whose habits strengthen yours, and whose vision complements yours. Choose someone who pushes you forward, not someone who holds you back. The partner you select will either become the greatest asset or the greatest liability in your journey. Love alone won't determine the outcome. Alignment will. Back. Build with someone who multiplies your strength instead of dividing it. Invest in the kind of relationship that adds energy instead of draining it. Don't just fall for potential, build with proof. And remember, back, compatibility is not about finding someone perfect. It's about choosing someone who makes you more powerful together than you ever could be alone. That's the kind of love worth waiting for, worth working for, bet and worth keeping for life.